guys, welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. I am mobile today. I am driving between the Aught Six Ranch in south central Colorado to Carbondale, Colorado. I'm going to pick up my wife, and she is going on a trip. I'm taking her to the Denver airport. But I wanted to take a second here to kind of bring you guys up to speed, because I've had a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages as to what I'm doing here in Colorado. And so I thought I would take a few minutes here and explain what's going on. So back in the spring, I did some turkey hunting in Texas, and I had a friend. One of the places that I hunted in Texas was a friend of mine whom I met through another friend of mine that actually works for this family. And they had told me that they were interested in purchasing a ranch in either Utah or Colorado for elk and mule deer. And so I thought that was neat. I didn't really think much about it. But this summer I got a call from this gentleman, and he had told me that he had indeed put a ranch in Colorado in escrow and was scheduled to close in September. And he had at that time asked me if I would be interested in being the hunt manager or hunt director or ranch manager, whatever you want to call it. And so I came over in August and looked at the property, and it's about 40,000 contiguous deeded acres, and it's a really nice, beautiful property. So when I came over in August, my initial impressions of the ranch were it's a lot of pinyon juniper country, some ponderosa pine, and very few aspens, but there are some aspen groves on the property. The elevation runs roughly from about 7,000 feet up to just under 10,000 feet, to give you guys kind of a perspective of the ranch. And the ranch is actually, the original ranch was about 56,000 acres, and the portion that my friend was buying is about 40,000 acres of that property. And the property is fairly thick. There's quite a bit, like I said, of pinyon juniper country, and then on up into ponderosa pine country. There are portions of it that are steep, but there is some nice gradual terrain, as well as there's agriculture on the ranch. There's several agricultural pivots on the property, and they raise alfalfa on the property. And so anyway, I decided that he wanted me to come start on October 1st. And so I have come over to the ranch on October 1st, and I've been here now for 17 days, basically going out and glassing and taking inventory of the animals on the property, how they move throughout the property, the numbers of animals, etc. Basically just observing and taking note of what's going on the ranch. What I have found is there's probably about 600 head of elk on the property that I've seen so far in 17 days. And there's the mule deer population is fairly low, lower certainly than what I was expecting for Colorado. Most of the places I've been in Colorado have a really high deer density, and one of the things that I have not quite figured out yet with our deer density on the ranch is Is it because we have so many elk that it has pushed the deer, elsewhere? Or is it a function of predation or habitat or such? And I would say at this point in time, I don't quite have the answer, or I don't have enough info to really give a good answer. I would suspect that because there are so many elk that, quite possibly the mule deer have just kind of been pushed off. With that being said, we do see mule deer every day. We do see mule deer tracks every day. We have seen a bunch of bucks and a handful of pretty nice bucks. But at the last 5 or 6 days, we've had a big shipment of stealth cam trail cameras come in, and Hunter Meekum out of Tropic, Utah, actually is working with me. He's 22 years old and just full of all kinds of energy, and he comes from a very historic, very famous, if you will, lion hunting family, houndsman out of Tropic, Utah. And Hunter and I we have about 75 cameras that we ordered, and we've got close to 50 of those cameras put out, dispersed over and through the property as of now, and we've got probably another 25 or 30 to get out. And we have been kind of gathering intel. I couldn't help it, but a couple of cameras were sitting for 3 or 4 days, and we checked a few of those cameras. It was funny, and I'll come back to this funny story, but we ordered those new Stealth Cam 4K cameras, and then we ordered the G34 Pro from Stealth Cam. Now, I will tell you, I have hardly ever used trail cams. I didn't even really know how to run or turn them on. I didn't know how to use them. I have very little experience with trail cameras, and quite honestly, I have kind of been a proponent not against trail cameras. I can just see all of the problems that trail cameras have created. But this is 100% on private property, and one of my, quote unquote gripes with trail cameras was all of the grief that everybody was getting in, with competition on the same water hole, competition on the same tree, etc. And all of the, everybody checking the cameras and all of the disturbance that the cameras have created. But back to the trail cameras, it's on private property, so we are the only ones checking the cameras. We're not going in, we're not bothering where the animals are, we're not creating that much extra traffic. And I think it's going to be a very valuable tool for us to be able to try and monitor what animals are there, and what, the property is thick enough that I feel like we're going to find, especially mule deer bucks. My hope is that we're going to find deer that we didn't even know existed. And so I'll kind of keep you posted on that progress. You can follow along. I created an Instagram page for the ranch, and it's called Aught Six Ranch. That's on Instagram. It's AUGHT6 SIX, not the number, just SIX Ranch. Aught Six Ranch on Instagram, and you can follow along and watch the videos and watch some of the pretty scenery photos and turkey tracks and all sorts of that content on that page, as well as my Instagram page, J Scott Outdoors. So what I've seen so far is I've seen probably 5 bulls that are in that 340s class, maybe even pushing up to 350, but I have not seen a single bull that I think or thought would go over 350 inches. And I've seen groups of up to almost 200 elk in one group. I know specifically one morning we counted 159. I know another evening we had another 150 some, and I didn't even get all of them counted. And as of the 17th of October, those elk are still bugling, and that they were definitely bugling more October 1st when I got here. But it seems as though every day I've heard bugles, and when I get around elk, the bulls are definitely still checking the cows and still nosing around. So it's pretty exciting from that standpoint, because it seems like the rut is a little bit more extended. And I'm not sure if maybe it's the fact that in Arizona, typically by about the 1st of October, I'm headed on from elk season on to different things. So maybe it's just a fact that I've been able to monitor these animals for the last 17 days. But pretty neat to see them doing their thing. And a couple days into, I think, Hunter Meekum's second day, he was driving along and found a 2-point mule deer lion kill. And he could see that there were female lion tracks on the kill, and he thought it was fairly fresh from maybe the night before. So that day we actually went and set a trail camera on the mule deer, the 2-point mule deer kill. And wouldn't you know it, that same night we had the female come in with 2 adolescent, fairly good size kittens, and was able to get some stealth cam trail camera video of those lions. And if you go on my Instagram page, you'll be able to see those videos, which I thought were pretty fascinating. I've seen a lot of lions. I've seen 43 lions in my life or in my career, mostly behind binoculars, but it was really cool to see up close and personal these female and kitten lions eating this mule deer. And they had buried her. Anyway, you can go see the photos and the videos on my Instagram page. But I think we're going to learn a lot. My point of this story is I think we're going to learn a lot from these trail cams. Another pretty neat thing is the ranch has a pretty sizable population of wild turkey. They're Merriam's turkeys. And for those of you that have followed my content or listened to my podcast, you know that I am a turkey nut. I own and operate Gould'sTurkeyHunt.com. and do my Gould's turkey hunts down in Sonora, Mexico. But I've been a turkey nut for years, and so it's exciting for me. It adds a whole nother element to this ranch, the fact that there is Merriam's turkeys on the property. And I see the turkeys, I'll see a turkey pretty much every day, if not every other day. I'll see a flock of turkeys. So for me, that's really exciting to see. I love those little buggers. And so we've seen bears, and we have quite a few bear. I'm sure our trail cameras are going to get demolished by bears. And that brings me back to my story that I was going to tell you before, my funny story. We went and checked a camera yesterday, and a bunch of cameras we've just set steel posts, 6-foot steel posts, like T-posts, fencing posts, and a couple of raghorns and some spikes and some cows came in, and actually some spike bull elk were raking the pole and the camera, and kind of knocked it off balance and knocked the batteries out of it. And when we pulled the card, there were actually 40 videos and the card was full, because we were only using a 16 gig card. But all of the videos are the spike licking the camera, the spike, eyeball literally an inch away from the camera, and then you can hear, because the video has volume, you can hear the antlers clanking against the camera. So I'm sure we're going to get a bunch more of that. We'll keep you posted. I'll try and post some of those up on Instagram. And I'm just continuing to search for that 350 plus bull. I'm continuing to, monitor, are the bigger bulls pulling off the cows? Are we getting an influx of elk and mule deer from the surrounding national forest properties? We have actually second and third rifle season coming up. Second season starts this weekend, and that's over the counter around the ranch. So I'm betting that there's going to be a bunch of pressure that's going to drive a bunch of those elk onto the private land. So it'll be interesting to be able to monitor and measure the influx and see if we do get some of those animals move onto us. But it's been interesting, definitely, to see how the animals move throughout the property. One thing I will tell you that has been interesting is these elk in Colorado are a lot more skittish than the elk that I'm used to in Arizona. Some of you are probably, snickering right now. And I think a lot of it has to do with, the amount of pressure that they've gotten on the perimeter of this property. So I'm going to continue to monitor that, and it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be spending the fall here, and then I go back for my desert bighorn sheep hunts in Arizona, and then of course the Coues deer hunts in Sonora, Mexico during the rut in January. And then, I have a few months off when there's not much going on hunting season. And looks like next fall, September and October and November, I will be here on the Aught Six Ranch in Colorado. So I'll keep you guys posted. I appreciate all of the emails and messages and the inquiries wondering what I'm doing. Hopefully that explains it. Really appreciate you guys supporting my podcast. I'm actually my numbers over the last couple of months keep setting records. I'm having personal best days of numbers of downloads and personal best months of downloads, and I just really thank you guys for your support, and I love hearing from you guys. Please continue to send emails to jscottoutdoors@gmail.com, or you can send direct messages on Instagram. I try and answer all of my messages as soon as I get them. And if you don't get a response right away, know that I'm busy with something to do with the ranch or what have you. But daily I'm responding to 20 to 50 emails and messages, and I love it. It's part of my business, and it's part of the success that I've had with the podcast, and each and every message I cherish, and continue to send the pictures of you guys' success. And I'm going to continue to try and bring as much content and information and try and help pull information out of the guests that I have on the podcast to educate and inform and help you guys become better sportsmen, better hunters, better fishermen. So thanks for your support, guys. Also, please, the sponsors of this podcast, GoHunt.com Insider, is doing a free trial, a 30-day free trial, and it is about to end. It's going to end here at the end of October. So if you want to get in on that, you have to go to www.gohunt, that's GOHUNT.com, gohunt.com/JScott, and just follow the prompts, and that gives you a 30-day free trial of the Go Hunt Insider. and that is the research tool that I use to research all these western states and all these hunts that I put in. It tells you the amount of bonus points required. It tells you harvest statistics. It tells you all sorts of very valuable information for any western hunter. And I want to thank Go Hunt for their support. Also, KUIU Ultralight Hunting, Jason Hairston and his crew, they make the finest ultralight hunting gear on the market. And actually, the KUIU mobile showroom is in my hometown of Phoenix or Scottsdale, Arizona, at Scottsdale Fashion Square, October 19th through the 22nd. Make sure to go in there. Make sure to talk to the guys and tell them you're J. Scott Outdoors podcast listeners, and check out every piece of KUIU gear, every size, every color, every boot, every backpack, every tent. Everything will be there. You can try it on. You can see what size you are. All of the layering systems, everything from head to toe. Go check them out. KUIU Mobile Showroom, KUIU Ultralight Hunting. Thank you for their support of this podcast. Phonescope.com, Cheston Davis. Use the JScott16 promo code. You're going to get a 10% discount. Cheston's company, Phonescope, makes custom molded adapters that you can adapt any binocular to any phone and be able to take photos and videos immediately. Get a 10% discount by using the JScott16 promo code. And then, of course, the Outdoorsman's, the Optics Authority, Cody Nelson and his crew in Arizona, 1-800-291-8065. Also at outdoorsmans.com. Use the JScott promo code. You're going to get a 10% discount. Guys, again, thanks for your support of this podcast. I really appreciate it. And I'm driving up the Arkansas River Valley right now, kind of by Salida, Colorado. And I'm going to be signing off here, but I really appreciate all of your support of this podcast. And you can go check out my Instagram page or check back here, and I'll keep you posted how things are going on the Aught Six Ranch.